Cultivated in Chile and Peru, and the Incas in South America, potatoes have been domesticated 7,000 to 10,000 years ago. For generations, these versatile spuds have been eaten and used medicinally long before they became a food staple at most dinner tables. As we all know and love the starchy little vegetables, it took a long time for the potatoes to take hold. The Incas had been using potatoes, feeding their families for as long as they existed, most of the time drying them and making a potato meal like powder, almost like how we have instant box potatoes today to store and use later. Around the second half of the 16th century, potatoes were unknown to most of the world. Due to the invasion of Hernan Cortez into the Inca Empire, potatoes spread. Though they saw these dirty, round, ground-growing things as food for animals and the devil's fruit, the Spanish conquistadors still took barrels upon barrels of spuds to places around the world. On its way from South America, potatoes made their stop at the Spanish Canary Islands. 3 barrels containing the spuds, oranges, and green lemons were shipped from Gran Canaria to Antwerp, and in a course of 5 years, 2 more barrels were taken from Gran Canaria to Rouen. Potatoes had finally reached Europe. While people were busy fighting each other and starving, everyone was forgetting about the dirty veggie sitting below their noses. Potatoes had become an animal food and filler because no one trusted the item brought from a savage land. No one wanted to eat something they did not know. What these picky eaters didn't know was how valuable this commodity of starch really was, until Frederick the Great of Prussia came along. He saw something in this misunderstood food. Frederick the Great saw and knew that potatoes could grow and adapt to their surrounding environments. Their versatility could be made into several meals. By the mid-1700s, normal food staples were running low. The revolutions were leaving people starving and the economy tanked. While his people may have been holding out better because of abnormal policies, Frederick the Great still worried that his people would not make it through the winter. He gave a thumbs up to potato growing because he himself enjoyed eating them and knew they could become plentiful, but prejudices still remained. Famine was ravaging families, and eventually Frederick the Great ran out of ideas to keep his subjects alive. Between tighter budgets for his nobles and higher self-discipline, people were still dying. Until one point, he devised a plan to turn his subjects' prejudiced thinking against them. When Frederick the Great issued a 1774 order for his subjects to grow potatoes as protection against the famine, the town scoffed. "They have neither smell nor taste. Not even the dogs will eat them, so what are they to us?" they replied. As unusual as a noble's interest in his peasants' diet may be, it was his method of reverse psychology that saved them. His people wouldn't willingly grow potatoes, so he ordered a garden to be made set aside specifically for potatoes, a wall to be built around them, and guards positioned at stations to watch his crop. Frederick the Great understood his people's sense of enterprise and told the guards, "If you see anyone coming for these potatoes, do nothing. Look the other way, pretend to be sleeping. If you catch them, go easy and send them on their way." So that's exactly what happened. Peasants would steal potatoes, getting into the field in the dead of night to see what all the fuss was about. More than likely, when they found nothing but potatoes, they were probably stumped. But why else would Frederick the Great be protecting these dirty, tasteless vegetables? There has got to be something about them. Stealing his potatoes, his subjects eventually started growing them on their own. His people survived the famine, and the upper class learned to embrace the spud. To this day, when you visit Frederick the Great's resting place, you will find potatoes left on his tombstone, marking the grave of the Great Potato King.